Hey y'all, it's Morgan Young back with another episode of Long Story Shorts, where we are getting into the headlines, taking over your social media feeds, and we're making it so easy for you, you don't even have to swipe. In today's episode, we are talking about the best companies in Texas and estate sale for cat lovers. But first, we're going to Teresa Woodard, who's telling us about a protest that turned into a victory rally.
Take a look at a rally outside of Hutchins City Hall, and it might not actually be what you think it is.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
The people in this community of about 6,000, 20 minutes or so south of Dallas, were not protesting. They were celebrating. They stopped an ICE detention center from moving into an empty warehouse on I-45 after a very vocal pressure campaign on the property owners who announced Monday they will not sell or lease to DHS. So it was more of a victory rally at City Hall, but they were also trying to raise awareness. ICE is buying warehouses across the country, and the people of Hutchins want people everywhere to know that's happening.
So early voting starts Tuesday, and Friendship West Baptist Church is one of the voting locations for both early voting and election day voting. But recently, the church has come into question, with some calling it a conflict of interest. 30th District Congressional candidate Barbara Malloway Caraway says voting at the church raises concerns because its senior pastor, Freddie Haynes, is on the ballot. Haynes is also running for the 30th District Congressional seat, as well as a third candidate, Rodney LaBruce. This seat was held by Jasmine Crockett, who's now in the statewide race for Senate. Caraway says having voting at this location is unfair to both the candidates and voters, causing mistrust. She says there's also the issue of payment, because the county gives money to buildings and institutions that are used as voting sites. She's taken her concerns to both the county and state and is considering filing an injunction. We spoke with all three candidates about this matter.
His building is synonymous with his names, and so voters are going to know that when they go there that he is a pastor. People are going to be passing out his campaign material.
Not the Freddie Haynes location, it's the Friendship West voting location. It's been a voting location in the community for years, and so to move, especially this late in the game, amounts to voter suppression.
I look at it more of an issue that for me as a candidate, if I don't overcome things like that, then I don't deserve to be in the race in the first place.
Dallas County commissioners choose the polling places for early voting, and Commissioner John Wiley Price says under this Texas elections code, the church is able to be a voting location. The code says a polling place cannot be located at the residence of a candidate or someone related to the candidate by blood or marriage. Dallas County Democratic Party, who chose the site for Election Day, says because Freddie Haynes is an employee of the church, there's no conflict.
It's not owned by Dr. Haynes. This is his place of employment. Friendship West has been a polling location for nearly 10 years. And so when we talk about unprecedented elections and we talk about voter familiarity, we have to do the right thing by voters and take them to places that are most familiar. Not only is it familiar, but it's one of our top 3 performing vote centers in all of Dallas County.
Now, we spoke with an elections administrator who says Friendship West being used as a voting location while its senior pastor is on the ballot does not pose any legal issues. However, the matter could come under scrutiny if someone working the polls is also on the church's payroll. In Oak Cliff, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
Talia Sanchez was 26 years old.
Very full of life, happy and joyful.
And entering a new chapter of life.
It changed her completely. It was no longer about herself anymore.
Everything revolved around her 7-month-old son, Levi.
She adored him and he adored her.
Sanchez's aunt, Teresa Lovett, says they hadn't heard from them in several days when Talia's mother called police to her Fort Worth apartment last Wednesday. Police say they found Sanchez dead inside.
Then it turned into, where's Levi? Where did the baby go?
Attention turned to Levi's father, Elijah Jacobo, who lived with them. Lovett says they discovered Jacobo had taken the baby to family in New Mexico where he left him. Fort Worth police officer Cynthia Wood says law enforcement caught up with him in El Paso.
When your information is entered into a warrant for a crime such as this, somebody's going to encounter you.
He's now facing charges related to Sanchez's death.
There were signs.
Lovett says months earlier, Talia had called police about a domestic violence incident.
She wanted to stay with him and keep her family together for the sake of Levi. She didn't want him to come from a broken home.
Now, they say his world is shattered.
They had a picture blown up of her to put in my sister's house. And when Levi saw it, he lunged forward to grab that picture.
They know the road ahead is a long one.
Just knowing that he was there in the room when his mom died, like what kind of horrible thinking is that?
They are asking for donations to cover everything from funeral expenses to legal fees as the family now pursues custody of Levi.
It's a completely different thing to know a mother and a mother's love, and he'll not have that.
They have just one message.
If somebody's hurting you, they're not going to change. Don't believe the lie and leave. You need to leave.
In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
The Plano City Council will meet next week to consider approving the largest incentive package in the city's history. It would give AT&T $20 million to move its headquarters up north from its downtown Dallas location. AT&T executives announced last month they plan to build a new campus at 5400 Legacy Drive in Plano. If approved, the agreement stipulates that AT&T must meet a number of obligations, including constructing a new building that's at least 2 million square feet, with a minimum construction cost of $1.3 billion. AT&T will also have to create or maintain at least 4,000 full-time employees and occupy the planned headquarters for 25 years. The deal, once again, represents the largest incentive package the city has ever offered to a private employer. The Plano City Council will vote on the package on February 23rd.
Us having the ability to shoot down drones via lasers is not a new technology. It's a growing technology. It's something that I envision every airport having the ability to do as we see these drones be more of a threat to our people. But there has to be procedures in place where folks, especially at the local and federal and the state level, know what is happening. It can't just be a unilateral FAA waking up and saying, we're shutting your airspace down today.
You think we'll get to a point where airports will have the capability to shoot down drones that are in their airspace?
To be frank, we should already have that capability now. The fact that we don't as a country, we are behind the power curve, Jason. And these threats are real. These threats are happening all over the world. You know, anyone can basically buy a drone at Best Buy, arm it with some sort of material and cause damage. This is already happening in other parts of the world. Once again, I don't want to wait for us to happen here in the United States before we go, what do we do about it? We need to protect our airspace, specifically our airports.
Well, if you're on the hunt for a home right now, there's some good news. Here's Chris Lawrence with a look at some new home prices.
Some good news to share if you're looking to buy a home. When it comes to affordability, Dallas just saw the biggest jump of any metro area in the country. According to Redfin's February data report, buyers need to earn about $112,000 a year to afford a median-priced home. Still sounds like a lot, but that's actually 7.5% less than a year ago. The median price in Dallas is just over $377,000, about $50,000 below the national median. So what does Redfin consider affordable? Basically, if your mortgage payment isn't more than 30% of your monthly income. The average monthly payment on a typical home in Dallas is now $3,200, which is down $300 from a year ago. Redfin says while Americans are still worried about layoffs and inflation, the door is cracking ever so slightly when it comes to buying a home.
Why throw that away? Somebody will get it.
As the owner of an estate liquidation company, Eric Uzelak makes a living.
Just like take one of those little screws.
Selling other people's stuff.
Yeah, that looks good.
But when he was asked to sell the contents of this house, nothing prepared him for what was inside.
I have never seen a collection that was this catastrophic, if you will.
The home in Arlington is a modest single story. But step inside and you'll find a story and a half. Eric says the homeowner, an elderly woman, had collected thousands upon thousands of cats.
I think I said me wow.
She had cat mats, fat cats, cats in hats, cats for a mouse, cats on a blouse, merry cats, scary cats, cats for your head, cats for your bed, cats in the shower, cats every hour, cat switches, cat britches, cats on suits, and a puss in boots.
Excuse me, doll, I hate to do this to you, but...
And whatever this is.
She's a real sucker for a good estate sale. I often wonder if a real cat came in this house, what it would think. It would probably be like, what does she do to cats in here? You know? Am I going to become a teapot?
When Eric let the cat out of the bag and posted the sale on social media.
Oh, this line got long.
A line began to form around the corner and down the street. People looking for some catisfaction, but no one needed it more.
Yeah.
Than Eric.
Sometimes look at it like the curator of all this was like spending this time like putting together a rehab program for me. It's kind of weird.
A couple years ago, while traveling, Eric got pneumonia and fell into a coma. Unsure he'd ever wake up, loved ones started saying goodbye.
It's still a little hard for me to talk about my coma.
When he woke up and left the hospital 10 months later, this was his first client, which Eric says was very cathartic.
It gave me an opportunity to kind of like pick up the pieces of what was left after I woke up.
He says the house and the reaction brought back a joy he'd lost. He got to know the owner and appreciate her oddities, including perhaps the most unlikely oddity of all.
There were no living cats in the home when she passed. There was only a little dog in the recent years.
And as if that wasn't unusual enough, you won't believe what's across the street.
The crazy cat lady had a little dog and she lives across the street from a mouse house.
A cheesy ending. Utter perfection.
I think she would approve.
In Arlington.
I think she would approve.
I'm Sean Giggy.
Forbes' annual list of the best companies to work for in the United States just came out, and 6 North Texas companies made the cut. Forbes uses data from 217,000 employees who all work for companies with 1,000 or more employees. Forbes used that survey data along with past results to rank 700 companies who all have 5,000 employees or more. Here's which North Texas companies made the cut. Ranked highest at number 41 is Cook Children's Healthcare Center in Fort Worth. They employ about 9,000 people. Toyota of America in Plano employs about 59,000 people, and they came in at number 52 on the list. Atmos Energy in Dallas employs just over 5,200 people, and they came in at number 95 on the list. And rounding out the top 199 is Texas Health Resources in Arlington, which employs about 29,000 people. Also on the list at 111 is Southwest Airlines in Dallas, and that's a little interesting because the company has gone through a lot of changes in the past year. Literally this time last year, they went through the first layoffs in the company's history. Finally, at 112th is the JPS Health Network in Fort Worth. That's the public hospital district in Tarrant County, and they employ about 7,200 people.
In case you needed a reminder, the 2011 Texas Rangers were absolutely loaded. It didn't work out the way they had hoped. One strike away. We'll get to that here in a second. But it doesn't take away from the fact that 1 through 9, that team, that lineup was as good as we've ever seen around here. And that includes the 2023 team, which won the World Series. The Rangers Nation account posted this over the weekend, featuring the video from a 2011 playoff game. The Rangers obviously had Josh Hamilton at the peak of his powers, but also leading off Ian Kinsler. Michael Young probably had the best year of his entire career that season. The 2010 team was good, but then they brought in Adrian Beltre for 2011, future Hall of Famer. You even had a guy like Mike Napoli hit .320 with 30 homers. David Murphy wasn't really a power bat, but he still hit .275, 11 homers. Consistent presence towards the bottom of that lineup. And of course, you had Nelson Cruz, another masher in that lineup. Of course, Cruz made that fatal mistake in the field in the playoffs in Game 6 of the World Series. Rangers were one strike away from winning it all. Question, how on earth did that lineup not win a World Series? Sometimes things happen. In terms of them being the best lineup to never win a World Series, that's kind of an impossible debate. The Cleveland teams of the 90s, that's been mentioned as another option. Also, the Astros, they had their run of success, and then a couple years where they actually didn't win a title, and they had a pretty stacked lineup as well. The first and only F1 race in Dallas history was kind of a disaster. And yes, that's a driver who collapsed in the heat as he tried to push his car across the finish line. The track crumbled, the car struggled, and only 8 drivers even finished the race. The Dallas Grand Prix was held in the dead of summer in July of 1984. Here's a quick look at the track. The 2.4-mile circuit went around Fair Park, around the Cotton Bowl, up along South 2nd Avenue. Race organizers later said they held it in July to avoid a rainout, but the hot temperatures over 100 degrees made it almost unbearable. The track surface also struggled. Concrete buckled up. They tried to fix it with cement, but the quick-drying cement wouldn't cure properly because of the heat. The winning driver, Keke Rosberg, wore this cooling mask. They said temperatures in the cockpit were around 140 degrees. Rosberg, after the race, despite winning, called the track conditions disgustingly bad. But probably the lasting image from the F1 race in Dallas was the English driver, Nigel Mansell, whose car broke down right before the finish line. He tried pushing it across. He collapsed in the heat. He was taken to a hospital for treatment, and he turned out to be okay. But it was just one example of how brutal the conditions were in Dallas's first and only F1 race.
Yeah, I would say it's been coached by mom. My mom has always had this optimistic approach, whether she's battling or struggling or fighting and overcoming, she always have an optimistic approach. She's always taught me, if you see the light in situations, you'll get the best out of that situation. And so whenever I have a bad lift, bad practice, bad game, I always try to see the light in the situation and turn those failures into successes. And I'm a perfectionist, so deep down, sometimes there's some negative self-talk. However, if I'm able to talk positively, I believe that it will happen positively. And if I'm able to switch my mindset and internal wiring to be more of a positive figure, I believe not only will I be a better role model, I'll create more success for me, my teammates, my coaches, and then honestly be able to bring joy and a better example to people.
That's great. Hold on. 1 second, coach. Beautiful. That good? I don't guess you could, you don't want to throw up a frog, do you, coach?
I don't know if I can hold it up, this hand the way it is.
Thank you, sir. Let her go. 1, 2, 3.
It's fight on now.
After some extensive research, and in fact, I did speak to viewers online. Everyone agreed I look way more red. I even got a crimson and cream.
Oh, I see what you're
comparison.
doing.
We so I brought props, orange, sports props, because we are the sports department, to compare the shirt color to an orange, which it is not, clearly.
Well, not a basketball orange, it's a burnt orange.
Yeah, it is burnt orange.
That's not burnt orange.
We talked to a color
consultant. Now we're going burnt orange.
Not burnt
And this is red, way more in the red family. All of the extensive research just to confirm that Michelle was right.
Okay. You took this really seriously. I would hate to argue a point with you.
I don't know.
Go with red. Go with red. But you are late for Valentine's Day.
Anyways, South Lake Carroll has some new news for us. It's actually really exciting news. It does have to do with Crimson Cream, the Red River, more in the red shades. We'll be back with that.
So if you haven't heard, Daybreak is about to debut a complete refresh of the newscast. The team is so excited. They've been rehearsing all week. So we're going to leave you with a little preview of what they've been working on.
Are we going now? Hello, internet world. Everyone out there on your timelines.
That wasn't the question.
Oh, how's rehearsals doing? It's great. It could be better.
It's going really well, but we have to get used to each other because contrary to like maybe popular belief, although we have a blast every time we work together.
Yes.
We haven't anchored together a ton, and when we do, it's always been really sporadic. So this is our opportunity to like get in a rhythm. So there's like a lot of new energy, and we're just trying to make sure that we get kind of some of the awkward little kinks worked out so that it's
Yes.
perfect for you on Monday.
But I love awkward. That's my favorite thing. So if you see a lot of it, just know I'm the author of it, okay? What do you need for the studio? Number one, need an earpiece, right? Oh God, where's it at? To the belly of the beast. Isn't this cool? It's like Making of the Band on VH1.
That ended in tragedy.
Does
dog.
anyone?
Good morning, Erica. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Morris. Good morning. Morning. We need it. Good morning. I got you.
Good morning and thanks for waking up with us on Daybreak. I'm Matt Howard.
And I'm Dia Wall. We have a packed show for you to get you informed and ready to start your Tuesday.
We'll have some gusty winds out there today with those temperatures quite warm, warmer than many of us would like out there. But yes, it will be warmer. That's one of the things you need to know. And that fire danger